A few weeks ago, I was browsing around Xbox Game Pass where Midnight Fight Express caught my eye as an addition to the new game's catalog. While there are quite a few positive things about this game, it has several persistent issues that keep the game from greatness. With that being said, my name is Republican, and these are my thoughts on Midnight Fight Express. The combat in Midnight Fight Express isn't just good, it's very good. Starting out, players are given the ability to use light attacks, heavy attacks, and grappling attacks, as well as given access to weapons, dodges, and counters. The character upgrades only build on this set of basic actions, from broadening the types of finishers available, to granting whole new abilities like throwing enemies, performing MMA takedowns, or using a Mortal Kombat-esque grapple gun. The game also includes a number of more fantastical abilities using the main character's secondary pistol. These abilities include mind control, shocking bullets, and explosive rounds. This veritable toolkit of destruction is incredibly useful in fighting off Midnight Fight Express's myriad enemy types. Certain enemies have total immunity to certain types of damage as well as moves. The game is completely unafraid to mix and match enemies from heavily armored baddies to zombies and even corrupt police officers. These combinations can be genuinely very challenging as you try to work out which enemies to prioritize, armed or unarmed, dead or undead, to make it through each encounter. This excellent enemy, having sung the praises of the on-foot melee combat throughout a good chunk of this review, I feel it's only natural that I mention the parts of the gameplay that I did not enjoy. The on-foot action is occasionally broken up by boring and even unfair vehicle sections. The two that immediately come to mind are a brief jet ski level and a motorcycle sequence. The former was just simply uninteresting when compared to the hectic hand-to-hand combat found in most of the levels in the game. The latter was simply unfair, with traffic obstacles being randomized each time the level was restarted, and collision with any of these vehicles ending in instant death. All while fighting a machine gun truck with no health indicator or hint that you were supposed to destroy this enemy, or just outmaneuver it like with the helicopter and train sequence earlier in the game. This game would have been far better off without any vehicle sections at all, and I feel like it hurts the game significantly. Visually, Midnight Fight Express is a mixed bag. It has generally pretty poor character models, with exception of their clothing, which is used to identify your character babyface, as well as a number of different enemy types. These character model imperfections are only really noticeable while you're customizing your character, but because of the isometric view of the rest of the game, it's not really that much of an issue. Inversely, the environments in Midnight Fight Express are well done and varied, with babyface fighting on rooftops, boats, graveyards, inside of an indie dev development studio, among even more locations over the course of 41 levels. I do have one major complaint about the story in this game, is that there is a moment where the player fights a gang of priests, ending in an encounter with their leader citing that atheists and progressives are their enemy along with the anti-fascists. Besides that ham-handed and unnecessary political allusion, the game refrains from making political statements. As you guys might guess from my name, I am a Republican. The whole point of this channel is to demonstrate that we are people too, and we play games also. It felt like an unnecessary attack. It wasn't super brutal, but it just kind of bothered me. But other than that, the story is very much a secondary thought when it comes to this game, and intentionally so. If you like silly games, silly plot lines, puns, which we all enjoy a good pun, you'll find something to like here. We've reached the nitpick part of the review. I'm going to discuss some bugs or instabilities here that weren't necessarily game-breaking, but bothered me enough that I feel like I should mention them, and honestly I think that some of this stuff shouldn't have even been an issue in the game to begin with. So first, upon booting the game up from the Xbox app on PC, I found myself stuck in an infinite loading screen. This was a common enough issue to slant the reviews for the game significantly on the Xbox Marketplace, and for the solution to be found through a quick Google search. The workaround for this bug involved changing my profile picture and relaunching the game through the Xbox app. This is really a bizarre bug that frankly shouldn't really have existed. I don't see how launching the game could possibly be attached to what my Xbox Live profile picture is at any given time. But nonetheless, it was easy to get around. I didn't suffer from it moving forward with any of my other play sessions of the game. Secondly, I did notice that the input device detection in Midnight Fight Express is actually pretty bad, even compared to relatively early development games. You've probably seen on my channel, I do play Star Citizen. I tend to keep my flight stick, mouse, and keyboard all plugged in for the purposes of playing that. For some reason, Midnight Fight Express kept detecting some input from my flight stick, even while I was actively using my Xbox controller. This led to a lot of frustration early on due to ghost inputs and issues with key binding. I would try to bind like X button to a certain part on the controls, and it would pick up some ghost imprint from my flight stick that I was moving the stick in the downward direction. Shouldn't really happen. I've played a lot of games where this hasn't been an issue in the past. I know it's an indie game, but this really feels like a kind of basic issue that they should have nailed down pat. Overall, I enjoyed my time with Midnight Fight Express. In spite of those issues, as an addition under the Game Pass umbrella, I'd say it is really worth getting. I wouldn't recommend it under the $20 price tag. I beat it in about 4 hours, and that was with a lot of deaths. If you are suspicious of the Game Pass model, I would recommend waiting on a sale on Steam. Those happen very frequently to pick it up. But otherwise, it is a very solid game developed by an independent studio, published by the Hundle Games Group. And yeah, those have been my thoughts. And just remember, everybody games.